Good morning, traders. This is Perry Wilkie with StartupTrading.com. It is uh, 8 minutes till 9 a.m. Eastern Time on Wednesday, August 13th. So looking back at yesterday's action, right? We the VIX continued to dive down during the regular trading hours after going down at night. We ended up. This is where I didn't really want to chase above yesterday, 640. So that's where I exited after the retracement at 637. Although I was playing the Nasdaq when the ES got back up here, I just had no interest, and then I was done for the day. But what we ended up doing was right going back up to the next level, which was 580 on the Qs. That was the call wall for it, and there is still one more target above that we'll get into in just a minute. So as we look at yesterday, right, beautiful impulse move up. All the indexes just one time framing higher most of the day. Left some poor structure in. Uh, that we'll watch here in a second. And then also, I've had this trend line. I'll zoom back out for a minute that I threw on the charts a couple weeks ago, right? Because that's basically the resistance is the top of this trend line. Roughly, you can see we've been above it for the most part, but that is the median. And you can see as days go by, right? This is a pretty steep incline that every day that just keeps moving higher. So potentially, the top of this right now by the end of this week is right around 6,600. I don't know that we'll get all the way up there, but you have to be aware of that there's no real resistance, and you can see as time marches on, right? Eventually that'll snap, but and we'll get into something less aggressive. But that is, a scenario that is definitely on the table. And after we've had these pullbacks, uh, and I'll zoom back out of here as well. Uh, let's see if we can get these matching up here. All right. So now that we're looking at similar time frames here, you can see after we had this consolidation and then the retest of this balance low, we've come back up and we've tested this balance low and come back up. So you had basically consolidation from the month of July, right? Now we're approaching the middle of August and going up, but uh, potentially you could end up going up uh, easily 100 points to 175 points from the top of this breakout. That would put you near that 6600 level. So just for breaking out, as long as the one time framing on the day stays intact, that's what you're looking at. And as long as I say you stay above basically 23,750 on the Nasdaq, and I would put it right around 64.25 to 20 on the ES, as long as you can stay above those levels. Even if we do, well, you're not going to break one time framing at this point in the day. So as we look at what we had yesterday, right, that poor structure we talked about overnight has continued to bid up. You have to keep in mind that if one time framing does end, right, you'll get that retest of that. But yesterday's bell low is quite a ways down, right? We could end up getting some retracements from the levels that we're at some point today. Um, and then trade some of these single prints from yesterday as a scenario. I don't know if you get all the way to value area low because that would clean up all of the single prints on all the indexes. That's usually not how this plays out, but you have to be aware of that. If do start holding below 23,807, that would be your bogey to stop looking for longs if you start putting time and volume below that level. Looking at where we're at, 580 is still the call wall. We are above that, right? We have the SPY was at 640 yesterday. That is the put wall now for the day, right? So we passed over that 640. So that is really where we shouldn't get back under for today. That should be around the low of the day, which was, right at that 640 from yesterday. And you can see 645 is the call wall for the day and the week, with 650 now being the call wall. So we've moved up, 10 points or 100 ES handles is where that is now. So as we, look at this, so we'll see if we can break over the high, but basically if all things are just kind of like ho hum, that's what you're looking at, 640 to 646 to 647 probably, but 650 should be considered the lid now on that. Looking at the cash market though, you've got all your resistance for the day is supposed to be 64.75. Uh, that would probably be about 20 points higher than we're currently trading. If we look at that over here, um, you're looking at yesterday's numbers, and we'll get an update on that. Right, just under 6,500. Uh, right around there would be where the 64.75 is. That's your daily uh, resistance up there, but you've got a lot of magnets above that on strength. And again, one thing that I did add the VIX over here on this grid. So as we watch the VIX, 15 is usually a level. I will be toggling between the VIX and the VIX because there's a lot of noise in the futures. But if you see really where we're at yesterday on just the VIX, we're under 15 now, right? On the straight VIX, and then we obviously have room to go lower, but normally this is an area that isn't too. We haven't lived below here for very much in the recent months. So if we go back and look at the VX, there will be. Oops, helps if I type correctly. If we look at the VIX, usually there will be some. I'm not doing the positioning for the futures on the VIX, the forward slash VX, but normally there will be quite a bit of positioning wrapped around this 15 level. So one thing that you can watch during the day today is if we do test 15, see if the VIX stalls going lower, which should stall the futures from going higher. That's going to be your next bogey, and we are approaching it. So keep that in mind as well. So that'll be something to watch. And then if we do start getting technical, uh, right now we are on the impulse move higher, right? So uh, I would think that 640 should be a good area to buy if we get down there. It's going to be hard to believe that we get down there, but Trump is going to be on the mic at 11:15. He usually runs late, so I'm looking right around the Euro close that he could be on the mic, and then we'll see if we get anything, uh, you know, volatility wise. You might get pushed up into targets, right, or start a retracement with him being on the mic. So that's all I'm really looking at right now is just the levels for positioning. Uh, and those are them. So first up on the deck, 645, and it's going to be really plus or minus $1. We are just under that right now, uh, but there are a lot of contracts and on all three of those strikes for today's expiration. I hope this helps. You guys have a good one. We'll see what Jack's looking at next.